Hello, welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for Buddy the Woodsman, released in 1934. It's the 89th in the series and it's directed by Jack King. There's no restoration available for this short. There is a nice film scan that was provided to me, which I'll be using for this review, except for the commentary portion, which uses older footage from, I think, a videotaped thing of this short, which was actually the cut version, and I'll get into that very shortly. In case you haven't seen this one, it is under copyright, so I can't show you the full thing here on YouTube, but really not much happens. Most of the beginning is just Buddy and his logger friends just cutting down trees in supposedly funny ways. It's then lunchtime, organized by the worst Chinese stereotype I've ever seen, and a bear decides that, hey, he wants some of this food, and we just have a fight with the bear at the end, and that's pretty much it. So it's yet another wonderful, bizarre short by Jack King. First up you're going to see is a re-edit of the original commentary I did before I had to take that down, and then you're going to hear some new thoughts from me, because this particular film print contains the uncut footage, whereas when I did the original commentary, it was cut because it came from Nickelodeon. So grab some popcorn and, well, try and enjoy. This is similar to that Bosco cartoon where Bosco was also a woodsman, but in this particular case, it's not some French logger named Pierre, which I'm surprised this cartoon doesn't have. I mean, it's got some burly loggers and that, but it doesn't have anything like the other cartoon. And in this case, it's a literal bear. Gee, that must be one powerful saw. I mean, if this was to be attempted in real life, you know, that vehicle would have to be so strong, and that blade would have to be so sharp. But of course, we've got a gay stereotype right here, and, you know, la 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 la. Because apparently gay men aren't strong, right? They're just, yeah. I like that sleepy gag. But this is a little bit disturbing. You know, you got this family of birds. You know, I mean, logging, of course, causes animals to lose their homes and that, and this is just... Did the bird seem happy briefly? That's weird. But it does feature Buddy punching out a bear, so yeah, it's got that going for it, which I'll point out later on. And I guess this is one way to get stuff done, just kick a goat in the butt and slap your own butt to draw him over. A lot of butt slapping in a lot of these cartoons. And this is just weird. You got that totem that they're trying to chop down, but then they just come to life anyway, those totems, so I guess that's magical powers. Then we'll have some sort of a story where this bear is gonna look at all this, smell all this lovely food, and for some reason enter from the roof, which is a bit bizarre. Like, I mean, that just seems very odd. But yeah, you got the, again, the stereotype there, and then but yeah, this is just weird. Like, is this a bear cub? Is it supposed to be a full-size bear? Because I would imagine a bear would be a bit bigger than that. Buddy's pretty strong. See, pow! It just punches the bear, and then we're gonna have this whole sneezing gag go on, and yeah, this bear is really pissed. I mean, I'm sure you'd be too if you were punched in the face. And oh, we have a repeated gag. They always do that with the guns by this point. I wonder what would be the last cartoon that used that gag, because it seems to be anywhere. So those are my original thoughts, and you can pretty much see the difference, right, when it comes to the footage. And when I was cutting up the commentary for this review, that was the edited version of this short versus the unedited version, and wow. You can see exactly why they cut it for TV. This is probably the worst Chinese stereotype I've seen, and there have been some doozies like Buddy the Gob and One Step Ahead of My Shadow and shorts like that. I mean, this makes them the most accurate Asian depictions ever done, you know. It's really, really bad. You just have to hear the voice and go, yep, they were clearly making fun of Asian people here, which is certainly not acceptable. But thankfully, this short, aside from that unfortunate bit, actually has some interesting gags. It's not really that good. Objectively, it's not a great short, but I don't know, but these Jack King shorts just fascinate me to no end, especially things like Buddy's Bearcat, Buddy the Detective, and those shorts. They're just so bizarre. It's as though he was so creatively frustrated, and this was the result of his frustration. It's really bizarre. But a few things that I didn't mention in the original commentary track, I did want to point out that I really do like that opening shot of the title card becoming part of the tree being felled. I thought that was a really nice touch. Even though it's a Jack King short, we don't get too many bizarre angles in this one, which seems to be his trademark around this time, but that tree shot would be probably the one shot like that. And in the end, I do like some of these weird tree cutting gags. You know, you're not meant to take it so seriously. It's just a bit of funny business and that. But yeah, we had the unfortunate gay stereotype in the beginning, and I'm listening to myself in the commentary track. It's like, yeah, what? So gay people aren't strong? It's just a bizarre thing. It's unfortunate, but yeah, it is what it is. Now, Buddy does this dance, and he's done that in so many times in these shorts by now. I don't know if it's repeated animation per se, or if it's just an animator redoing that dance. But this is truly a white version of Bosco, because Bosco used to do that same dance over and over. But a lot of the time that was just repeated animation because of how low budgeted those shorts were. And speaking of gags, look, I just find it weird that we can see how supposedly toothpicks are made, and they waste a whole tree trunk rather than use offcuts and otherwise useless pieces of wood that they would use for building. Then they would have smaller cuts for other things, then cuts for firewood, and then anything left over is like things like toothpicks and wood chips and that kind of stuff. And Buddy just does one thing and then he just moves on. So, I don't know, maybe he's trying to be a supervisor. Because I thought that's what they typically like to do, don't they? And I don't think Buddy's heard of physics, because Buddy bouncing up that high like he does, and then he does that whole skipping rope gag. Again, it's really bizarre, but yeah, it is what it is, I guess. But it's just so weird. He has no respect for physics. And after 2 or so minutes in, there's still no story. It's just nothing but tree cutting gags. So it sounded like they had a really paper thin story, and then they just needed to stretch it out with all these weird gags. And another weird bit in a short full of weird bits. So Buddy is mad that he dropped some wood, but then he's happy to play the xylophone he's somehow made. And he's skipping out of work, of course. Again, I think he's trying to be a supervisor. And I mentioned this in the track, but I don't get how Buddy playing that xylophone brings those totems to life. Very weird gag. However, I will say that the dance animation of those totems is really, really good. I do like that part. It's probably my favorite bit of animation in this short. I wonder who did that bit of animation. If you have an idea, definitely let me know in the comments. From shorts of this vintage, that information is probably lost to time anyway. Now, we get up to the bit that's always cut on TV, and again, it's the worst Chinese voice ever. Just awful. Truly, truly awful. You see a little bit of it on TV, you just see the Chinese cook, but then it usually cuts away, and everyone's happy that it's now lunchtime, and I love the scale here. It's ridiculous of how many people are going to that small hut for lunch. And then we see everyone getting washed. I guess that's one way to wash your crew. And then dry in the next shot, featuring the dog. Okay, sure, why not? Everyone's singing, everyone's happy, and we get another cut bit where, why would you hire a Chinese cook to cook Italian food? Make him cook some beautiful Chinese food. I don't know, whatever. I'm overthinking it, of course. And again, you get even more Chinese stereotype stuff where in the cut version, you would see this chef a little bit being scared by this bear that decides, you know what, I'm just going to enter through the chimney for some reason. And even if it wasn't a stereotype, this bit isn't even that funny at all. You'd think that they would be a bit more creative. I mean, a bit of his hair crawls away. But we get back to the singing, and the singing, the bear went over the mountain, and naturally the bear approaches, which I thought was a nice touch. And again, more weird stuff, like the bear sneezing, and the dishes go back in their proper place. And there's even one weird shot where for some reason the stag comes alive, and even the wood heater just salutes him. It's like, I don't know. When I saw that, I was just yelling out, what? What is this? But yeah. And the cabin is so big on the inside, and yet on the outside looks so small. And they all entered the other cabin, didn't they, earlier in the short? I don't know. I'm overthinking this. Look, rewatching this short, Jack King has a special place in my heart for having all these really weird and wonderful, just bizarreness of his shorts. And again, I think that's just born out of frustration that he wanted to do more. He does objectively better work over at Disney once he's able to do color shorts. This one gets a 5 out of 10. It's bizarre, but you have to see it to believe it. And again, I can't share it with you because it's not in the public domain, but I'm sure you can easily find it elsewhere. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.